Hey everybody, Nathan Ronen, CFA here with a very special set of videos for Level 3 candidates, because right now I'm sitting and grading essays deep in the early morning of the hours of the morning, seeing lots and lots of mistakes on essays, and I thought I'd put this together to help everybody out there who may be taking the Level 3 exam in February of 2025, but even for those people that are going to be taking it in August of 2025. But primarily for those people that are taking it this coming month of February. So if you'd like to continue receiving these updates as I post them on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, please press the subscribe button now and the notifications bell so that you can get these, what I consider very helpful tips, strategies, advice, and also know what else is going on in the CFA world. Okay, let's get started. So I'm getting these emails, I'm getting these messages, I'm grading exams. People are flying off the coop because their exam is next month, as it normally happens. And, I want to help you out. So here's the thing. I've actually been teaching CFA Level 3 for more years than I care to admit, almost close to 30 years. And I've been been on top of this program, Level 3, what it takes to pass the exam, for many, many years. And in light of teaching for almost 30 years, I've probably seen more or less all the mistakes that candidates can make that could actually cost them the charter or cost them passing the Level 3 exam and therefore the charter. And some of these mistakes I see over and over and over again. And as I just said, it's costing you the exam, it's costing you retakes, and it's costing you your charter in many cases if you give up. So where does all of this, what am I going to do here? I'm going to put out this video and two more with the largest errors that I see, the three top errors that I see people committing on the Level 3 program and on the Level 3 exam, and how we can actually fix them. But I'd like to give you a backdrop. I did receive my charter. I don't have a special thread on Reddit, giving advice to candidates. I actually sat for Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3. I am a charter holder, and I have been grading essay mock exams since I first developed an essay writing workshop back in 1998, So I've been doing this for quite some time. And I've probably had tens of thousands of candidates go through my program, and I've helped tens of thousands of candidates over the years to get their charter, So in this video, this part one, I'm going to call this part one, I'm going to discuss the first error and the first major error that I see people committing when they're studying for the CFA Level 3 exam or when they're doing even essays, Now, again, this is not going to be some kind of PowerPoint style presentation. I don't really believe in PowerPoints because it leads to memorization rather than understanding, which I'm going to discuss in a moment. So with no further ado, let's you and I dig, or we should say dive deep into what actually matters. And I think if you hear me out in these three parts, you will learn a lot, and it will probably help you to score better on your CFA exam. Okay, so in this video, let's talk about error number one. I would call it memorization versus understanding. You can also call it memorization versus mastery of the CFA Level 3 program. Now, I'll tell you a quick anecdote. I have had candidates come to me over the years taking the Level 3 exam multiple times before they've joined me, In the old days, there was no limit to how many times you could take the exam. But since the exam is now a computerized based exam, there's only 6 tries. And after the 6th try, even if you're a Level 3 candidate, if you fail 6 times, you're out of the program. I had a candidate, and this is before the exam became computerized. The gentleman was a money manager working in Dubai. I think he was from London originally. It doesn't really matter. And he came to me once when I was in New York City and said to me, Nathan, I need your help. I really need your help. I'm struggling with level 3, and I don't know why. So I listened to him, and I said, well, okay, can you do me a favor? Can you tell me, what are you reading? What are you studying from? He looked at me and goes, and he named the prep company's study notes. And I go, that's it? And he said, yeah. I go, you've been doing this 10 times, and it's never worked. He goes, well, it's going to be my 10th time. I go, okay, I got it. That's not my point. 9 times, whatever. It's not working? Why are you using the same approach over and over again? Forgetting that, okay, that's Einstein's definition of insanity. Forget that. But why would you only read prep materials for level 3 when you've got essays all over the place? So he told me, well, what do you want me to do? Read the curriculum? I go, why not? It hasn't worked yet for you just using the study notes. So what is this whole story about? Well, he actually decided to join me. He followed my study plan that we designed for him. He saw how different it was from what he'd been doing in the past 9 times. And then he took the exam. And I'll be honest with you, he never came back to me and actually told me I passed or didn't pass. You know, sometimes people just pass and move on. But later on, I did see, when I was somewhere, the letters CFA after his name. So I understood that he passed it, and sent that little text message to him. He said thank you and all that, and it worked for him. And it should work for you as well. All right, great story, Nathan. Where are you going with this? The question is, why are people out there just like this money manager in Dubai failing the level 3 exam so many times? Well, error number 1, as I just said, memorization over mastery. So how do you fix this? How do you not memorize the program? Because I memorized it at level 1 and it didn't work and it worked for me at level 2. Level 3 is a completely different ball game. In fact, memorization should never be the solution at any of the 3 levels because it doesn't garner understanding. So how do you actually fix this? The first thing I would do is I would make sure not to memorize. I would focus on mastering the core concepts in the level 3 program. When you're reading, when you're taking notes, when you're studying, master the core concept. That's number 1. Also, what I would do is I would make a very strong and conscious effort to focus on understanding the relationship between the topics. You've got these different topics. For example, if you're doing the portfolio management pathway, you have readings on equity, fixed income, derivatives, alternative investments. You have portfolio management readings. You have asset allocation readings, capital. How does this all work together? Well, you need to understand how it all works together rather than just trying to, again, read all the material in the order that the CFA Institute has it in their large number of books and just go from one reading to the next. You need to understand the relationship between the topics. That's where I come in. Okay. Also, what you need to do in order to pass and to succeed and not fail the exam is to learn how to apply the concepts that you're reading, that you're learning, to real exam questions. If you're a prep provider, if you're not using it, but if you're using another prep provider and they're just going through the concepts and regurgitating what's in the book so that you don't have to read it, they're not doing their job. Because your exam is 50% essays, you're going to have to demonstrate knowledge to the graders, and you're going to have to apply the concepts that you learned based on the scenarios that you're given. Okay, that's what I do in my lecture videos. I have over 50 essays in there, and I actually show you, after I've gone over the content, how to apply it to actual essays. That's revealing. Okay, and then the last thing I would say in order to understand memorization versus mastery is to make sure you use an integrated learning approach, especially when you're going to do real exam questions. Okay, now what do I mean by an integrated learning approach? Well, if you read the books that the CFA Institute provides, or many times even any prep provider's notes that are following the order of the CFA Institute's readings, you're not going to see the connection between the topics. You're not going to integrate the concepts. You're not going to integrate the learning outcome statements, the modules. And then what are they going to do on the essays? What are they going to do on the item sets? They're going to ask you questions where you have to integrate it. I'm grading those exams right now. That's exactly what I'm doing in my essays. And I see that when I ask a question that's just very linear, and right out of the book, people can get it right because they've done the reading. But once I combine private wealth management with derivatives, and I ask them about an equity collar, and I relate it to a private wealth management scenario, is this in the program? Is this anywhere to be seen? Where did you get this from? That's exactly what happens on the exam. People get mesmerized because they can't see or they never had an integrated learning approach when trying to apply the concepts to real exam questions. That's what I think you need to focus on very, very aggressively. And when you're doing mock exams, to make sure that the essays or the item sets are not linear questions, but rather that they're integrating the concepts for you. If you're not sure, what I would do is I would get on board with me. I would work with me to help you to develop that mastery of the material over memorization. No memorizing. As I say, understand and apply. Don't memorize. And that's the first error that people are doing. And that concludes what I want to talk about in this first part of a 3-series part. Thank you for listening, and go on to part 2.